marvelous, a comparison in what is God. What is God? How we are God to this body. What is God to the universe? A comparison from an spirit in French Society of Spiritism and 1864, more or less, I think is this. I will read to you. Marvelous, marvelous. A great, great notion. What is God? And why our ignorance to don't understand this. In philosophy, psychology, ethics, and religion, there is nothing true except that which doesn't wander one iota from the essential qualities of the divinity. The perfect religion will be the one in which not one article of faith contradicts those qualities, and in which all its dogmas can bear the proof of what test without being affected. What is the qualities of God? In sum, God cannot be God except under the condition that God cannot be surpassed in anything by another being, because then the being that surpassed God in whether way, even by so much as a hair's breadth, would be the true God. That is why it's necessary that God be infinite in all things. God is therefore the supreme of sovereign intelligence. God is unique, eternal, immutable, immaterial, all-powerful, supremely just and good, infinite in all God's perfections. It can be no other way. Providence is the theme of today. Providence is God's care for all creatures. God is everywhere, sees everything, and presides over everything, even the very smallest things. This is what providential action consists of. How is it that God, so great, so powerful, and so superior to everything, can get involved in the teeniest details and be concerned with the smallest acts and thoughts of each individual? Such is the question that unbelievers ask themselves, from which they conclude that even if they were to believe in the existence of God, God's action would extend only to the general laws of the universe, and that the universe has functioned throughout eternity by virtue of those laws to which all creators are subject in their sphere of activity, without there being any need for the incessant support of providence. This is what a person that don't believe the existence of God would think. in their current little evolved. Remember, this was the last book that was written by a scientist, Kardec. Hippolyte Denisard Léon Denisard Rivet, a physics, a mathematics teacher, biologic teacher from biology, and physics teacher that write books in all these matters: mathematics, biology, physics, and geology. I don't know if geology, but in other, yes. And this is all this book don't have questions, have only conclusions from this scientist about all other 4 books he had publication after this. Then is a hard work from Kardec to organize all answers given by spirits, not by Kardec. The spirits answer all questions of Kardec. The inusitated way is distributing all answers in more than 1,000 centers, spirit centers, in world that don't have communication each other, don't say the same language, and don't have pass the same answer to another. Was impossible this. And all answers Kardec was put together in books, but he organized all questions, all matters, and all answers that he verified what answer was the same in world, to show that was the spirits that was answering. How much various lands would give to Kardec the same answer without no one have communication each other, don't had television, don't have had TV, don't have communications, media don't have, I think don't have smartphone, nothing have in those times to justify the same answer with various lands, with different languages, each other. And arriving in Kardec that talked various languages, and he accepted only the same answer from various points, different points with different languages, and don't have possibility one talk to each other the same answer. Don't have this possibility in those times, don't have. Then after organizing all these questions and answers in various 4 books, here he put his conclusions, how scientists, about Genesis. And now we are starting this book and is still talking about God, okay? And see how much exceptional was the comparison. One spirit in final, I will read. This spirit gave in French society about spiritism in those times, about comparisons about God. Now, still in these items, Kardec will develop arguments about God and his existence. In their current little evolved state, humans can comprehend that infinite God only with difficulty. Today, still today. Since they are bound and limited, they imagine God to the bound and limited. I don't know if I read to you all item 20. How is that God, so great, so powerful, and so superior to everything, can get involved in the tiniest details and be concerned with the smallest acts and dots of each individual? Such is the question that unbelievers ask themselves, from which they conclude that even if they were to believe in the existence of God, God's action would extend only to the general laws of the universe, okay? A great influence only in great things, not a minuscule being, how a human being. In their current little evolved state, humans can comprehend the infinite God. Can you comprehend the infinite? Never was created. I don't understand this. When I try to think in this, I stop. So don't disturb it, my mind. Our mind don't get still in the understand this. Comprehend the infinite God. Humans can comprehend the infinite God only with difficulty. Since they are bound and limited, they imagine God to be bound and limited. We are limited, we only can imagine God limited too. Okay? It's barbarous, this conclusion. So simple, but not so obviously. They picture God as a circumscribed being and create an image after their own. The pictures we paint of a God with human traits have contributed in no small way to maintaining such error within the minds of the masses, who worship God more in form than in thought. For most, God is a powerful sovereign on an inaccessible throne. Sovereign on an inaccessible throne. Lost in the immensity of the heavens. And because their faculties and perceptions are limited, they cannot understand. Human beings can understand that God could intervene, ordain to intervene directly in small matters. They cannot understand this. Given how powerless humans are in comprehending the very essence of the divinity, they can get only a close idea with the help of comparisons that are necessarily highly imperfect, but which can at least show them what at first glance seems impossible. Let us imagine a fluid subtle enough to penetrate all objects. See this way that Kardec will going to try to show what God are in all parts. Let us imagine a fluid subtle enough to penetrate all objects. I don't would imagine a fluid, but I remember the oxygen, the gas. Being unintelligent, oxygen is not intelligent, is only an element of chemistry, gas. This fluid acts mechanically by material forces, penetrating us in all objects. We can imagine all objects too, material objects too. Let us imagine a fluid subtle enough to penetrate all objects. Being unintelligent, this fluid acts mechanically by material forces alone. However, if we imagine this fluid to be endowed with intelligence, can you make this now? Imagine oxygen, how unintelligence. Perception or other gas you want, or fluid you want. I don't can imagine a fluid different of a gas. If you can, you are a chemistry, imagine this fluid, but with intelligence, okay? However, if we imagine this fluid to be endowed with intelligent perception and sensitivity, it no longer acts blindly, but with discernment, will, and freedom. It sees, understands, and feels. It sees, understands, and feels. This element, how an oxygen, but all with all these qualities, intelligence, perception, will, okay, in all things inside us too. The properties of the perispiritual fluid can give us an idea of this. Perispiritual is a second body. We have this body and have a second body exactly the same way. And a third, this spirit, perispirit, that is a body of a spirit, and this grocery second body, third body, the material body. We have these three elements in first. When we go to other dimension, we don't can perceive, because this second body perispirit is the same. You feel this with this face, but out of body with so much force to live, more than this body. When you are out of this body, you have so much more perception. This body is a gross cloth, a grocery cloth. After this, before this, come perispirit. That is a body of a spirit. When you go out, you will see your perispirit, not your spirit, perispirit. So the same with his body. And you will take by good spirits that try to say to you, you are not more with your grocery body. See this and show the other you inside his box too. You are that. I don't remember the name of this. A great box. To guard your body. That are that. Okay? In funeral. And you don't believe because you feel so much alive, so strange alive. And you see your face there, your face is not the same. Do you saw a people after that? The appearance totally was different. So much without life, so much with life and with meal, don't have meal, don't have more consistency, completely white and without color of blood, because don't have more blood, that you don't recognize you in those bodies. Is exactly this I saw happening to a spirit going to see the funeral of a parent. In his mind is, oh, a funeral in my house, someone of my family dead, but never imagine that. See a body sometimes appear how him. And so much time I hear Spirit say, who is this? Is the same my face? Who is this? A parent that I don't know. So appear with me, and then the Spirit starts to have an insight and remember, oh, I left my body. My body dead. Then, see this, and someone don't want to see, but is obligated to recognize, don't accept someone, and the great part of him in front of the reality accept they are dead. And the spirit are tired with a suffering because this spirit is still trying to live in his old house, thinking people are anger to him and don't talk to him, can talk, no one can talk to him. Then the spirit passed by a great suffering because this. But continue here. The properties of the perispiritual fluid can give us an idea of this. The fluid is not intelligent per se, since it is matter, but it is the spirit vehicle for thought, sensation, and perception that give to perispirit sensation, perception, vision. The sound of voice is this. But now you can hear my voice because have oxygen to take this to use. Contrary, you don't ever would hear my voice. See how Kardec will show to you, try to show to you a bit what is presence, omnipresence of God. This fluid is not intelligent per se, since it's matter, but is the spirit's vehicle for thought, sensation, and perception. How this body is vehicle to my voice, to my sensibility, to my vision, and to my perception. This body is only a vehicle. The perispiritual fluid is not the spirit dot per se, is not, but is the agent and the intermediary of what dot. How this body is intermediary of me, spirit, my dot, and my voice. Since the fluid is what transmits the dot, it's sort of impregnated with the dot, okay? The fluid is impregnated with the dot. Given the impossibility of isolating it, it seems to us that the two are but one. Me and my perispirit gave a sensation that me and my perispirit are one. But the perispirit, how this body, don't have intelligence. It's me, spirit, that use this to show me this. They will make a compare with God. It's sort of impregnated with the dot. Given the impossibility of isolating it, it seems to us that the two are but one. Like sound seems to be one with the air. The sound and air is the same. But really the voice impregnates the air in such a way that we can materialize it, so to speak. In the same way that we say what the airs become sonorous by taking the effect for the cause, we could say that the fluid becomes intelligent, because the fluids are impregnated from the dot of God. Is this. Whether or not this happens with God's dot, that is whether it acts directly or dot the intermediary of a fluid. God acts by an intelligent fluid that impregnates all things. Is this marvelous? How don't believe in it? Can you explain this? It's marvelous, this explanation is perfectly, it's poetic, it's marvelous. This is Kardec. God bless him. That is whether it acts directly or not, the intermediary of a fluid, in order to make it easier for us to understand. Let us represent it under the concrete form of an intelligent fluid, filling the infinite universe and penetrating every part of creation. The whole of nature is immersed in divine fluid. We are from nature. We are one with God. Fluid, it under the concrete form of an intelligent fluid filling the infinite universe. Intelligent fluid under the concrete form of an intelligent fluid filling the infinite universe and penetrating every part of creation. The whole of nature is immersed in the divine fluid. Then, cause this, you can say so clear, God, but they are inside me, inside you, inside all things. We are immersed in God. And have another more fantastic comparison. Wait the final. Wait for this. In order to make it easier for us to understand, let us represent it under the concrete form of an intelligent fluid, filling the infinite universal and penetrating every part of creation. The whole of nature is immersed in the divine fluid. Thus, by virtue of the principle that the parts of a whole are of the same nature and have the same properties as the whole itself, then, since each atom of this fluid, if we may so explain it, possesses dot, that is the essential attributes of the divinity. Our atoms in our body is full of the presence of God. Then we can cure ourselves. How much we can believe in it. How much you can feel it. Possesses dot, that is the essential attributes of divinity. And since this fluid is everywhere, then everything is subject to its intelligent action, its foresight, and its solicitude. There is not one being, no matter how minuscule it may be, that is not in some way saturated with this fluid. Only people think is out of this because the ego, a great villain in this story, want be more than this intelligence. And then when people believe in it, people fall and fall and fall, but God are there too. In final of abysm, the fluid intelligence of God are there too to save us. There is not one being, no matter how minuscule it may be, that is not in some way saturated with this fluid. Hence, we are constantly in the presence of the divinity. There is not one of our actions that we may hide from its gaze. Our dot is in constant contact with its dots. And it's correct to say that God reads the deepest folds of our mind. We are in God just as God is in us, according to that Christ said. And don't it's necessary made show singing to God. God will be feeling in our silence, in all our molecules, in all our atoms of inside our soul. To extend kindness over all creatures, God does not have to look down from the heights of the immensity. To be heard by God, our prayers don't have to cross through space. Pay attention, what marvelous is this? Nor do they have to be spoken with a resounding voice. Since God being constantly at our side, make this with enormous, strondos sound is the same to say, I don't are hearing, not feeling God inside of me. Is this? It's not other things. God being constantly at our side, our thoughts resound within God. Our thoughts are like the sound of a bell, which makes all the molecules of the surrounding air vibrate. Far be it from us even to think of materializing the divinity. The image far be it from us even to think of materializing the divinity. The image of an intelligent universal fluid is obviously only a comparison that is more appropriate for providing a more exact idea of God than the image that represent God in human form. It has the objective of making comprehensible God's ability to be everywhere and to be concerned with all things. I will read again because out of here I'm disturbed. Far be it from us even to think of materializing the divinity. The image of an intelligent universal fluid is obviously only a comparison that is more appropriate for providing a more exact idea of God than the images that represent God in human form. The image of an intelligent universal fluid is obviously only a comparison that is more appropriate for providing a more exact idea of God than the images that represent God in human form. It has the objective of making comprehensible God's ability to be everywhere and to be concerned with all things. We have always before us an example that can give us an idea of the way in which God's action can be exerted over the innermost parts of audience, and consequently the way in which the most subtle impressions of our soul reach God. This example was taken from a lesson given by a spirit on the matter. Let a moment that will, with you, asking now, good spirits, protect this place and give peace to this woman that are feeling injured. that presence of great spirit protector of all things take so far those spirits that came now to transform what I am saying to you. Nevermore these spirits will return here, and they were taken for no more get to him, to here. Grace of God, Grace Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, and all spirits that are protecting all this ambient and all this woman endured, that she can meet the happiness and peace in his soul with God and angels protecting all people that don't have nothing with disturbance. Continue here. Far be it from us even to think of materializing the divinity. The image of an intelligent universal fluid is obviously only a comparison that is more appropriate for providing a more exact idea of God than the images that represent God in human form. It has the objective of making comprehensible God's ability to be everywhere and to be concerned with all things. We have always before us an example that can give us an idea of the way in which God's action can be exerted over the innermost parts of all beings, and consequently, the way in which the most subtle impressions of our soul reach God. This example was taken from a lesson given by a spirit on the map. This example was taken from a lesson given by a spirit on the matter. The spirit was in Society of Spiritism in French in a year of 1867. Kinemant, the name Kinemant was the name of this spirit. And that spirit that was so angry because this from this church heard and don't like it, because these words I have certain go directly to their hearts, and you perceive it what we don't want it perceive. How much time they are losing in his life, stimulating others to make the same and be in a circle without a development. Because these spirits get a person and put in my doors to disturb it, this. But this is the strong of Jesus Christ. No one can work and through this force. No one will stop these words in world. No, it's the truth. We have always before us an example that this spirit will give us. The human being is a teeny world. Imagine this is the lesson given by a spirit in those society in French in 1867. The human being is a teeny world where the director is the spirit and the directed principle is the body. The directed by this director is the body. In this world, the body represents a creation, of which the spirit represents God. Keep in mind that this refers only to a question of similarity and not of identity. Keep in mind that this refers only to a question of similarity and not of the identity. No. In this world, the body represents a creation you can imagine, of which the spirit represents God. The parts of this body, the different organs comprising it, muscles, nerves, and joints, are other material individualities, if you will, located at special points of the body. Although the number of these constituent parts so varied and different in nature is considerable, no one questions the fact that no movement may be produced or that any one impression may occur at any particular point without the spirit being aware of it. Are there different sensations at many points simultaneously? The spirit sense discerns and analyzes all of them and assigns to each one its cause and location, all although the intermediary of the perispiritual fluid. An analogous phenomenon occurs between God and the creation. If the spirit have a fluid intelligent, how intermediary to give orders to the body, material body, God can make the same with fluid intelligent intermediary, his creation. Because this intelligent fluid are in all particles inside of our body. Analogous phenomenon occurs between God and the creation. God is everywhere in nature in the same way that the spirit is everywhere in body. All the elements of creation are in constant relation with God. In the same way, what all the cells of the human body are in immediate contact with the spiritual being. Thus, there is no reason why phenomena of the same order would not be produced in identical manner in both cases. A line moves, the spirit senses it. A creature thinks, God knows about it. All lines are in movement, the various organs are in motion. The spirit senses each manifestation, distinguishes it, and locates it, the spirit. Nor consciousness, because some things we can distinguish in our body, but the spirits know. When we are not so good in the stomach and other parts of our organs, spirits know. But maybe is unconscious. God knows. It's different. The different creations, the different creator move, think, and act in diverse ways. And God knows about everything that happens and assigns to each one what in particular to it. The different creations, the different creatures move, think, and act in diverse ways. And God knows about everything that happens and assigns to each one what is particular to it. We don't realize what is this, but we can imagine, okay? One can also deduce this solidarity between matter and intelligence, the solidarity among all the beings of one world and of all worlds, and finally of all creations and the Creator. This was from Kinneman, Parisian Society, 1867. Isn't this barbarous? Isn't this marvelous comparison? And so much interesting. When I read this book, I had 19, more or less. And I was read this maybe 21, maybe. And I read this so fast because I have 1 year to read all this book and studied it. And my mind is not clear in those times. My mind was, when I read this 5 books, 1 year for 1 book, each book in 1 year. My mind don't have the experience that I had today, and don't have focus that I have today. Because this, for me, is continue being a marvelous information, how in those epochs, but now with so much focus. Principally, I'm saying this for other persons. Then I greeting to you that inspired me to make this for you, and God that inspired me to make this to others. When we follow our conscience, miracles happen day by day. Only follow your consciousness and you will have marvelous happen day by day in your life. Is this because God is inside of us. Then thank you for your presence. Have a marvelous final weekend. And tomorrow I will post about One Castle in the Past. Until there.